All right, everybody say hi, Libby.
Hi, Libby.
Hi, Libby.
I tried to get out of the lesson for you.
Yeah, I know. Well, they partially got out of the lesson. 2.2 is a staple page. We're only going to get through about half of it. So I give you the homework assignment, but I say do these problems for Monday, even though the entire homework assignment won't be due until Tuesday after we finish the notes on Monday. So that's kind of how that will break down. But 2.2 is statements, conditionals, biconditionals. This is kind of like the logical side of geometry. They're trying to get us ready for like thinking logically, okay? So they're talking first about statements. And they say a statement is a sentence that's either true or false, and that's called the truth value of the statement, okay? So if they say find the truth value, they're just saying tell me whether that's true or false, okay? So statements will usually always be labeled with letters, okay? So if you go down to like example 1, we're not going to do this one yet, but I'm going to show you kind of how this works. Statement P is the figure is a triangle, okay? And we have to identify whether that's true or false. Statement Q is the figure has 2 congruent sides. Statement R is the figure has 3 acute angles, okay? And we're going to figure out the truth value to each one of those, but they will usually label the statements as like italicized letters. So this is statement P, statement Q, statement R, okay? Just to kind of keep them sorted out, okay? When you are doing something called a negation, you see the word negative in there? Yeah. You're like taking the statement and making it negative, and what they'll do is they'll write it with a little scripty, like a I think it's called a tilde. Is that called a tilde in Spanish? I don't know. Tilde. So they'll say tilde P. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to switch that around and say not P. Right? That tilde means not that. Okay. So if I'm looking at statement P being the figure is a triangle. Not P would be the figure is not a triangle. You're just going to insert the word not into that statement, and that's how you negate it, right? You're making it negative, okay? Pretty self-explanatory, okay? Then we have something called a conjunction and a disjunction, and that is how 2 functions or 2 statements interact with one another, okay? So a conjunction is a compound statement like P and Q together, but we're talking about P and Q. This is an and statement, okay? And it looks like an upside down V. Let me make that look a little bit better, okay? P and Q. And it kind of makes an A, right? That little symbol when it's right side up kind of looks like an A. So that's how I remember that that's the and. So P and Q together. A disjunction. Dis means they're like separate from one another. So it's going to be an or statement. And it looks like P or Q, which is the same symbol but flipped the correct, like flipped up and down, so it's just a V. So the V is an or, and the like upside down V or an A is an and, okay? And you're looking at those 2 statements together as a compound statement, okay? And we're talking about like trying to find the truth value of each one of those. True, false, whatever, okay? All right, so let's go down here and let's look at these statements and let's figure out first whether P, Q, and R individually are true and false. Okay, so they're referring to this diagram over here, this triangle. And statement P says the figure is a triangle. True or false? True, so I'm going to put a T off to the side of that. Okay, Q, the figure has 2 congruent sides. True, how do you know that? The little lines, those little tick marks tell me that that is, that those are the same, so that is true. And R says the figure has 3 acute angles. False. False. Why? Because this is a 90-degree angle and that's not acute, okay? So that's a false statement, all right? Now, we're putting this together and they're saying P and R, and they want me to write the statement out, what P and R looks like, okay? So I'm just going to rewrite statement P. And statement P says the figure is a triangle, and I'm going to abbreviate a little bit. So the figure is a triangle. I'm going to abbreviate. And the figure, we're doing statement R next. The figure has 3 acute angles. Okay, the figure is a triangle, and the figure has 3 acute angles. Okay, so now we have to come up with a truth value that is about that whole statement. So is it true that this figure is a triangle and it has 3 acute angles? No, right? The figure is a triangle, but it doesn't have 3 acute angles. So that fact makes that whole thing false. The figure is a triangle and it has 3 acute angles? False, okay? Now here's how this works, all right? P was a true statement and R was a false statement. But true and false together makes false, right? Because in order for an and statement to be true, both pieces have to be true. So if you look at the figure, if you look at the statement, the figure is a triangle and it has 3 acute angles, that entire statement is false, just because the second half is false, okay? Now over here for part B, they want us to write that out in words. So Q says the figure has 2 congruent sides, and the symbol for congruent is the equal sign with the little tilde over top of it. And, because that symbol means and this one says not R, okay? So if R is the figure has 3 acute angles, not R would be the figure does not have 3 acute angles. Does not have 3 acute angles, okay? All right, now we have to identify if that statement is true or false, okay? So, true or false? The figure has 2 congruent sides and it does not have 3 acute angles. True or false? True, right? So, if we're looking at this, this is true because Q was true and R was false, but that means not R is the opposite of that. So not R is also going to be true. So we have a true statement and another true statement, which makes the whole thing true. Okay? Yes? Good? Okay, I'm going to write off over to the side over here, and let's talk about this for just a second. These are my and statements, and those look like the little TP, the A, okay? And if you have a true and a false, let's do a true and a true first. True and true. True and true equals true. True and false equals false. False and true equals false. False and false equals false. So the only way an and statement to be true is if both pieces of the and statement are true, right? Okay? So like for example, okay, Jake. Jake is a boy and a junior. True, because both of those things are true. He's a boy, true, and a junior, true, right? But if I say Jake is a boy and a sophomore, false, right? Because he's a boy, yes, that's true, but a sophomore, false, right? So the whole, both parts have to be true in order for the whole thing to be true, okay? All right, so let's go down to disjunctions, which are the or part, okay? So let's just look at this information. Find the truth value. P, Q, R, we have the same kind of statements, but they don't have a diagram to this one. January is a fall month. True or false? False. And then I have like Kyle this morning. Well, in South America, where there's seasons. I don't care, Kyle. No. Hush. Yeah, right. Right, because I think it's still considered fall down there, like autumn, but autumn is hot. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, we don't care.
Because of, like, the temperature doesn't
right.
correlate.
We don't care. We don't care. Yeah. He was just being silly. So January has only 30 days. True or false?
False.
False. January has 31. Okay, because just a knuckle, right? Yes. January 1st is the first day of a new year.
True.
True. Okay, so when we're doing Q or R, all right, Q.
We're talking about the Chinese.
That was another thing he said. Exactly. That was another thing he said. He's like, but in the Chinese New Year. I'm like, shut up, Kyle. Be quiet. Yeah. Oh.
Like Kyle.
No. All right.
Just give an example.
Give an example of what Kyle would say. And he did, in fact, say that. Chinese New Year. Okay. So Q or R. Okay. So I'm going to abbreviate some. Q says January has 30 days. Or January 1 is first day of new year. Okay, so now we're looking at that thing as a whole. So is it true that January has 30 days or that January 1st is the first day of a new year?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. One of those things is true. Even though the first one is not true, the second one is true, making the whole thing true. So Q is true, or that's the V. No, wait a second. No, Q was false. Blah, blah, blah. Q was false, or R was true. So the fact that the R or the second thing was true makes the whole thing true. Okay, because we're only looking at either or, right? Okay, P or Q. So P is January is a fall month. Or Q is January has 30 days. Okay, so is it true that either January is a fall month or January has 30 days? No, so that's false. Because P was false, Q was false, and false and false. False or false makes false.
What?
What? Are you confused?
How's that false?
Okay, is it true that either January is a fall month or that January has 30 days?
January.
Is January a fall month?
Yeah.
No. January?
January?
January is a fall month, like an autumn month. Yeah. January is a fall month or January has 30 days. January doesn't have 30 days. So is it true that either January is a fall month or January has 30 days? No.
No.
Neither of those things are true, so the whole thing is false. Does that make sense? Yeah. False or false makes false. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, now, this one we have one of the squiggle things again, which is called a negation. So not P. If P was January is a fall month, not P would say January is not a fall month. Or January 1 is first day of new year. Okay, that's what that's saying. So when we're doing this, only one of the things has to be negative. Or only one of the things has to be true.
January has 30 days.
No, it does not.
It
Yes, it
has
does.
30
No, it does
days,
not.
but it doesn't have only 35. 35?
Oh, like
30
exactly.
Has
30?
only 30 days. Yeah, January has only 30 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because that's kind of a tricky thing. So if they just said January has 30 days, you would say, yeah, that's true actually. Because it does have 30 days, but it has one more than that, right? Yeah. Anyway, I got it. They're not trying to be tricky on you though. Yeah. So I should have put in here, I'm being lazy. This should say only, and this should be only, but whatever. Anyway, I'm trying to abbreviate, so I took the word only out. Okay, so let's identify, is this true or false? So when we're looking at this, only one of the things has to be true, okay? January is not a fall month, or January 1st is the first day of a new year. True or false?
True.
True. They're both true, so it's double bonus. True and true. So true or true equals true, okay? All right, so let's do the same thing over here. Let's talk about or statements. And an or looks like a V, and here we go. If we have true or true, that's a double bonus. Okay, this would be like, is it true that Jake is a boy or a junior? Is Jake a boy or a junior? He's both, so double bonus, right? True, okay? All right, true or false? Okay, is it true that Jake is a boy or a sophomore?
Yes.
Because he's a boy, right? He's a boy or a sophomore, so that's true, right? Okay, all right, let's do false or true, okay? All right, true or false? Jake is a girl or a junior. Girl or a junior. True, right? He's both. So double bonus. Just kidding, Jake. All right, then we have false or false, right? Okay, so is it true that Jake is a girl or a sophomore? No, because false for both, right? So that's the only way that an or statement is going to be false is false or false, right? If an or statement has any truth about it in either section, it's going to be true no matter what. Versus an and statement, the only way for it to be true is that both of them are true, right? Okay, so it's kind of like the reverse effect a little bit for this trend versus this trend, right? Okay, so ands versus ors, right? Woo. All right, good with that? Okay. All right, now, last thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to do example 3 on the back side, and then we're going to, but stay on here. We're going to talk about if-then statements, and we're going to talk about hypothesis and conclusion, okay? So we will have a statement, and they want us to write it in if-then form, okay? So if something happens, then something happens. And the if part, we usually call the P part, which is the hypothesis, and the then part is what happens afterward, which is the conclusion, and we usually label that as Q, right? So if then, they're going to give me a statement, and they're going to say, if something happens, then something else happens. Like if I say the statement is, it's raining, so I'm going to bring my umbrella. You would say, if it is raining, then I will bring my umbrella, right? You're just putting the statement that I give you in if-then form, all right? If, then. All right. Identify the hypothesis and conclusion for each statement, then write the statement in if-then form A, okay? Now, a mammal is a warm-blooded animal. We have to write in if-then form, okay? Now, the thing that we cannot do is we cannot add any additional information about this stuff. Like this morning, they were trying to say if a mammal is a warm-blooded animal, then it walks on 4 legs. I don't know, right? We can't add any information that we don't already have up there. So how can we write that, just that statement in if-then form?
An animal is warm-blooded, it's a mammal.
Now, okay, that's kind of like flipping around.
I was
If
gonna
it's
say, that's
warm-blooded, is it
backwards.
necessarily a mammal though?
No.
No.
It
So
could
if
be-
it is a mammal, then it is warm-blooded.
If it is a mammal, then it is warm-blooded, yes. So we want to write it in the same way that they have it in the statement here. So if it is a mammal, then it is a warm. There's a lot of like English stuff to this.
I feel like I'm writing an essay.
Animal. I know, right? If it is a mammal, then it is a warm-blooded animal. Yeah? We can't add in any additional information that we don't know. Like anything about walking on 4 legs, anything about what it eats, you know, whatever. Like somebody this morning was trying to say, like, then it drinks milk from its mother or something. I'm like, I don't know. We're not talking about that. Like mammals probably do that, right? Like they nurse their young, right? But we're not adding any information to this. We're just taking what we've given, if then, all right? So let's identify the hypothesis and conclusion. So which part is the hypothesis part? If it is a mammal, that's the hypothesis, okay? The conclusion part is, then it is a warm-blooded animal. That's the conclusion. So we're just labeling those guys, okay? All right. All right, now this one might be a little tougher. Okay, a prism with bases that are regular polygons is a regular prism.
So if a prism has bases that are regular polygons, then it is a regular prism?
That's exactly right. One of the keywords that I look for here is the word is. Like is in math is equals, right? And equals kind of separates your hypothesis part from your conclusion part, okay? So I'm looking for that is word, and that's kind of like where I'm going to separate my stuff. So if a prism has bases that are regular polygons, then it is a regular prism. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Hypothesis?
If a prism has bases that are regular polygons.
Yep. Hypothesis, conclusion, then it is a regular prism. Good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. Okay, we're gonna stop there. We'll finish the next part tomorrow because that's gonna, or not tomorrow, Monday. And there's that. I'm gonna give you your homework assignment, which looks like, I don't think I have it up here, but on your homework assignment, you should be able to do 1 through 5 on both sides. Okay, and it's just kind of like the truth value, like tell me what, whether it's true or false. Okay, good? All right, here we go. Everybody say bye, Libby.
Bye, Libby.